Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got our guest co-host, Alicia Renee. And let's get in some front page news. So now, last night was the Powerball, correct? Or was it Mega Millions? I get them confused.
What was yesterday? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yesterday was Powerball.
That's Powerball.
That's the $1 billion. So somebody won the $1 billion. So if you have family in L.A., they said the ticket was bought downtown L.A.
Oh, my God.
If you have family in L.A., somebody won that $1 billion ticket last night.
Well, I didn't see the sign change this morning. You know, in the morning you be driving, you looking to see if the sign changed. I didn't see the sign change. It still said a Billy.
Nah, well, that's what they said when I was driving in and heard the news. I won $4.
I ain't checked
This
it.
is heartbreaking because I'm out here with y'all. I didn't even get to put my name in the hat.
Damn.
But today's a Powerball day for you because Unleash for Love is up.
There you go.
Yes, on
Okay.
Audible.
All right. We'll
Yes.
take that. Teslin Figaro. Good morning, Tez.
Good morning, DJ Envy. Good morning, beautiful Alicia and Charlamagne the God.
Peace, Taz.
I guess I should have got that ticket in LA.
No.
The one time I didn't get the ticket.
I know. All right. Well, let's jump right into it. A lot went on yesterday with Carlee Russell. So give us some updates.
Oh, this is a lot to unpack. The Hoover Police Department held a news conference to provide an update on the Carlee Russell investigation. Now, for those that don't know, Carlee Russell is the Alabama woman who disappeared last week after she said she saw a toddler walking on the interstate. Now, during the press conference, the chief of police said that there is no reason to believe that there is any threat or danger to the public, because the public was really concerned, wanted to make sure, hey, was there somebody out there? So they wanted to make sure that people know that there was no threat or danger to the public connected to this case. Mm-hmm. He also went further to say that police have not been able to confirm much of the information provided by Russell in her initial interview with police. So let's keep in mind, she's interviewed with them once, not twice. They're looking for that second interview from her, and she has not met with them yet. The chief of police also said that Russell's toxicology report was not suspicious and that there is currently no indication of mental illness. So based upon her health record, based upon interviews with her family, they said they cannot confirm the mental illness. I thought that was important to also point out to folks. Police have still not officially determined if a crime was committed in this incident. Now, police also provided details from the investigation, which included a search of her possible internet search history in the days leading to her disappearance. Let's listen to some of that, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
On July 11th at 7:30 a.m., the term "you have to pay for an Amber Alert" was searched. On July 13th at 1:03 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term "how to take money from a register without being caught" was searched. On July 13th at 2:13 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term "Birmingham Bus Station" was searched. On July 13th, 2:35 a.m., a search for a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville was conducted with a departure date of July 13th. On July 13th at 12:10 p.m., a search for the movie Taken, a film about abduction, was conducted.
Man.
Some random ass searches. But, you know, this is why I told y'all don't be in a rush to be on either side of, you know, whether she was lying or not. Let the facts come out and the truth will come out with it. Is the whole story all the way out though? Or is just the text messages have been released?
I think I don't think the whole thing is, I think the text messages, the search. I don't think the whole story's out yet. They're trying to get a second interview, and I don't think she granted the second interview. My only thing, when we heard the story the first time, the reason I was questionable is when you said a toddler was walking down the highway, right? And we seen the video of the traffic on that highway. And the fact that she was the only person allegedly that's seen that child, that's the only thing that raised. Because you're on the highway, more people will say, hey, I seen a kid on the side of the road, or I seen a kid on the side of the road. Only one person seen this kid on the side of the road that was walking.
I don't remember them telling us it was a highway at first, though.
Yeah, it was.
It was a highway?
But I think.
I just thought they said that she saw a toddler walking.
No, it was a highway.
On the highway.
I mean, I know it was a highway. We found that out, but I don't remember that initially.
Yeah, they said that in the original story. And just as another point of clarity for those that want to know, you know, didn't get a chance to watch the press release, they were able to see that she did drive 600 yards, claiming that she was following this toddler. You know, so when they told her, you know, keep following the toddler, she's like, okay, yeah, I'm following. That's some of the surveillance that the video that came out earlier this week. And 600 yards, just so in case folks don't know what that is, that's like 6 football fields. Right. So again, apparently following a toddler on the highway for 6 football fields and nobody seeing that toddler is definitely suspicious.
That's definitely strange. Only thing I don't like when the police say, you know, there's no threat or danger out there.
It's code for she lying.
Sure, but there is a threat of danger because human trafficking is real.
No, meaning in this case directly because people were very scared in that area.
There's not human traffickers in that area.
But he's meaning threat in that particular case because people were scared in that case.
I'm sure she made it all up. All I'm saying is the threat of human trafficking is real, and there's hundreds of thousands of women and children who go missing, especially black ones, every day. So there is a threat of human trafficking out there.
Well,
just not in this. It might not be the person she make it made up.
Well, at least let me ask you a question. I've seen a lot of women upset about this because they're saying, the threat with human trafficking, like Charlamagne said, is serious. And because of this, they feel like maybe law enforcement or police might take, cases serious anymore. So how do you feel about that yourself, Tez, as well? Because you guys are women and it's really dealt with a lot of women getting kidnapped.
1,000%. I mean, first of all, I always believe black women. Let's start there. Which is why so many of us rallied immediately. I know, Charlotte, what you said, we have to make sure all the facts come out first. But, when we see one of us missing, Tez, I'm sure you can agree, we're reposting, posting, because, society will look for Waldo before they look for us. Let's just keep that a buck. You know what I mean? And so on its face, obviously, we're hoping that there's more to this story that kind of leads more credence to what she's saying, but looking real sus.
Tess?
Well, coming from an activist standpoint, when you look at anybody being missing, you have to respond immediately, within 24 hours. We don't really have time to wait. And I think that's anybody, the 48-hour period, which also is another point. She came back right at the 48-hour period, but time is of the essence. So I think it's important that we do that, whether we're talking about black women or if we're talking about the story I did a month ago about the Cleveland, almost 30 children who went missing in Cleveland that I don't see people talking about, so whether it's women, black women, black men, black us, period. The stats show that they do not look for us in general. Yeah. However, to Charlamagne's point, when he says that, there still is a threat and we still need to talk about the larger issue, that's important as well. But two things can be true at the same time. Folks were like Tamika Mallory, for example, she went live yesterday to talk about her disappointment, in this young lady. If we find out that it is not true, because again, she still has to interview and we still have to go through the process. So there's some disappointment and some empathy I have for her mother. If this was not true, sending her mother through that type of terror, right? That upsets me. And so we just have to unpack, all of this and not make this conflate this into one big thing, but talk about each thing. For example, mental illness. The reason why I pointed that out, there were a lot of folks in the mental illness community that reached out to say, hey, we don't want the stigma of every time something happens saying, oh, it must be mental illness. Because then, we're not really digging into what happened. Now, obviously, if she created this type of scheme, something is off, but we got to be careful of misdiagnosing folks as well, That's right. And still holding her accountable. If she did this and she lied, she needs to be held accountable. She needs charges. We need to be very clear about that. But we also still, like Charlamagne, the larger point, talk about what are we doing in general, for the missing folks.
And furthermore, as a black woman, I would also like to say they don't take our cases serious to begin with. False claims are not the reason they don't take the cases of missing black women and children serious. It's because they are black. And think about it. If they were allegedly looking for her for 48 hours, they couldn't even find her and she wasn't even really missing. So that lets you know they wasn't really looking.
Envy?
It made sense to me.
You identify as
I'm 50% black woman.
I can see it.
So are you.
I can see it.
So are you. I don't know if you realize that those are the ingredients that make humans, men and women.
Envy, what's your thoughts on accountability with her?
He's Dominican. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I agree with what you said. I think this can take away from other black women when they become missing because police are
I
double
agree
think
with
that. I do.
I know because they don't take the cases serious to begin with.
I do, but not only that, you just see the people that got behind this case, right? Because everybody was like, we want the same amount of press that was behind the submersible, right? So what's going to happen is another time this happens, people are going to be less likely to post because they're going to say, well, let's see what happens first.
Well, that's different.
That's where accountability within our own community, is prevalent, should be prevalent.
Right.
Yeah.
Me and Tess talked about that yesterday.
Well, let's get it off your chest, Tess. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Thank you so much. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, call us up right now. Phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up in the morning. The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. We got our special guest host with us today, Miss Alicia Renee.
Hey, boo.
All right, let's get into some front page news. Tesla, welcome back.
Good morning, Alicia, beautiful Alicia. We're having some great conversations today.
We all having some good conversations behind the scenes. You ain't lying.
This behind the scenes conversation is off the chain.
Mm-hmm. Now let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the IRS whistleblower. What's going on now?
Yeah, 2 whistleblowers provide the House Oversight Committee with their side of the story from the year-long investigation into Hunter Biden. Now, the Internal Revenue Services employees Greg Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, who were previously known as Whistleblower X, alleged that the U.S. Justice Department officials slow-walked the investigation into President Joe Biden's youngest son. Let's listen to some of the exchange, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Prosecutors instructed investigators not to ask about the big guy or dad when conducting interviews.
Here's what galls me. I don't like these attacks on the Department of Justice, the FBI, the IRS, as if they are somehow anti-U.S. agencies. And we could be, quite frankly, using our time to better talk about crime in America that's affecting everybody, attacks on women's health, the economy, budgetary issues, public education, housing, the need for senior citizens to be able to pay for prescription drugs, child poverty, and mental health, to name a few. And yet we are doing this all over again for the Hunter Biden show to someone who has pleaded guilty and has taken responsibility for not filing taxes for 2 years.
He need to be in jail. If you ain't filed, because I know if I didn't file taxes for 2 years, they'd be locking our black asses up.
Under the jail.
That's fact.
Okay.
That's fact, but we got to be real. I mean, his dad is the president, bro.
That is true.
And people can say whatever they want. His dad is the
That's
president.
true.
He's going to
Being
get preferential
protected. No,
treatment.
you're right.
Yeah.
It is what
That's
it is.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, he did take the plea, as you know, and so they feel like, the case is over. Shapley said that the investigation treatment was different from any other case during his 14-year career with the agency. They said at every stage, decisions were made that benefited the subject of the investigation. They said that, as you heard, Democrats are saying, you're spending time on this when he's already, basically accepted responsibility. And they also pointed to, they didn't play that in the clip, but they pointed to, you still haven't been able to prove that President Biden had anything to do with this. And so I want to say this, again, this goes back to accountability. If Democrats are going to say that Trump should be held responsible for election, using his influence to influence the election, if there is something to this, that they used President Biden's influence in the due process, then somebody needs to be held accountable. I don't think it's right to just say, oh, well, he accepted responsibility, let's just move on. These whistleblowers are saying, one of which is a Democrat, by the way, is saying, no, this investigation was not done the right way. What do you guys think?
I think you're absolutely right, Ted. And I don't know why people act like they don't know how politics work, because it's campaign season right now. We got a presidential election next year. They're going to never stop talking about this. Same way that on the other side, they don't stop talking about the things Trump did or the things Trump's family did. Like, they're going to keep bringing this Hunter Biden thing up, on the campaign trail. So they should know that.
Trump is never going to be found guilty of anything. That is the Teflon Don, my God. And he should be under the jail for all the things.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I never thought he would even get indicted at all. So I really don't know.
That's what I'm saying. He's not going to be found guilty of anything. He just keeps.
Well, he was already
everything.
found. Well, let's keep in mind he was found guilty in the case with the civil side.
Yeah. On the civil suit, right?
Yeah, the civil side. So we'll see.
He'll delay cutting
some
that
more
check.
Indictments coming up. Another indictment may possibly drop next week. They still have what's going on in Georgia. But again, I think what they're saying is, if there was some wrongdoing, during this investigation, people should be held accountable.
And they definitely not going to stop it. Their guy got 2 indictments and a possible 3rd and 4th on the way. They're going to definitely.
Not 2 and a possible.
Yes. So in their mind, they're like, okay, well, listen, this is happening to us. Well, guess what? Look what's happening over there.
That's right.
They should be held accountable too. It's just going to be a bunch of finger pointing. That's all.
Now let's talk about
this. Like you said, Charlamagne, if Trump get back in office, what's going to happen?
Ooh, revenge season.
Oh, yeah,
I'm looking for revenge.
Absolutely.
And it's a part of me that want to see it. I really don't.
Stop it.
But it would be good in a movie.
Oh.
I wouldn't want to see it in real life, but just to see what Trump would do if he becomes president again.
Training day for real.
Right.
Training day for
I'm putting
real.
cases on all you bitches.
That's right.
Okay? All right?
Now let's talk about this over-the-counter birth control pill before we get up out of here.
Yeah, just quickly wanted to give this update. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved the birth control pill, Opill, which will be available over the counter. Now, this is the first time that a birth control pill non-prescription has been available in the United States. They said this is going to reduce barriers to access to individuals that, do not have medical insurance. They don't have to see a health provider. They said that they're committed to ensuring that this pill is affordable and accessible to people who need it, and it will be available in the stores early 2024.
So what was Plan B all these years?
That's
Plan B is after. That's the Plan B after.
You got 70
after you slip
hours?
up. This is the pre-slip up. Plan B is the post.
Wait, I'm confused. So you would take this if you know you're gonna get busy that night.
This is real birth control. Like you go to the doctor, you take it every day, and a real birth control. Plan B is, oops, I slipped up last night.
Right.
Let me go take this pill on the back end.
There you go. Come on.
That's why it's called Plan B.
Come on the back end.
All right.
Literally Plan B.
All right. Well, that is your front page news. Thank you, Tez.
And as the Negro poet Lotto, I believe, talks about Plan B. You can listen to that record and get more details.
Yeah, y'all keep ripping it out the plastic.
Yeah.
You know me, y'all gonna need Plan B. Jesus. Okay.
Thank you, Tez. We'll see you tomorrow.
Condoms.
No problem.
Come on, Charlamagne.
Oh, make sure you subscribe to Tesla and Figaro's podcast, The Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network, and make sure you follow Tesla and Figaro on all on all social media platforms.
There you go.
At Tesla and Figaro.
All right. When we come back, Oscar De La Hoya will be joining us, so don't move. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.